It can now. So you can go.
It is there. Hello?
Go ahead.
I can go ahead.
Yes, we got it. Yes, go ahead.
Oh. So my topic for the presentation is not just a witness. I can interpret myself at my own cost. Creative betrayal of the original in self-translation in quotes. More often than not, we have taken those who use the second language or the third language when they are giving their evidence and they are participating in court as people of limited language provisions. However, during my interaction when I was collecting data for my PhD, I realized that these ones, we could better look at them from a translation and interpretation perspective, whereby we could see that these witnesses, they are not as such limited, but they are now trying to struggle to translate what they witnessed. Hello? Because of issues about connectivity, let me go very fast, give a summary. I'll take a note more than 20 minutes. So I look at the general background, then I look at the self-translation vis-a-vis the witness, the bench who are the judges and the magistrates, the prosecutor and the defense counsel. Then finally, I'll look at a way forward on how the self-translation has affected the cases which are being prosecuted. As a background, I don't want to dwell so much on it. The Constitution stipulates that you can use any language in court, then interpretation services are offered for those who wish, because in Kenya, the language of the courts, the High Court and below, is Kiswahili or English. Then the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court, the language to be used is English. However, when witnesses come to court and they indicate that they will use these other local languages, and the bench realizing that these are bilinguals, they tend, for the sake of time, they tend to request them if they can agree to use Kiswahili or English for their presentation. And there is a notion that Kiswahili is not a very difficult language, so they can use it. And what do? The bench tells them that we not use very difficult Kiswahili, just this simple, everyday Kiswahili. So for the sake of time, they agree in the war, which I call the battlefield, where they are deciding whether to use English or to use the local language or to use Kiswahili. Finally, the witness gives in because you must obey authority and says, okay, I'll try and use this simple Kiswahili so that we can have this case prosecuted as fast as possible. So the agreement is reached by consensus, not by forcing, so that it is not be seen that is the court that has forced a witness to donate his rights to them. Now, having agreed that these ones now they are translating, they are not really people of limited persons, a perspective has been taken by the sociolinguistic oriented scholars. In the studies that I carried out somewhere in Kenya, within the western parts of Kenya, in the courts, I realized that when the witnesses agree to use the language, along the way, they find themselves caught up in a semantic gap, whereby they will get that there are some words and some clauses which cannot be translated to the target language, which is Kiswahili for this particular study. Therefore, they start inserting the local language words into the discourse. For instance, in a case whereby the petitioners were talking about land, then the prosecutor asked, what do you do next? Then the witness says in Kiswahili, I informed Omotureti. Omotureti is not a Kiswahili word, it is a Kisi word, one of the local languages. And because they have realized they cannot get a very fast equivalent, although there is one, there's a Kiswahili equivalent for the same, but these are not trained interpreters, they were not even prepared, because we believe that when you go to court as a witness, you have mapped that when I go to court, I will speak in this particular language. Now, when you have appeared at the dock, then you are told again, now you switch from language A to language B. So you become an interpreter of yourself. You interpret what you witnessed at the scene, then now you bring it. That's why at times again, they translate word for word of these phrases. There's another one which now they use Kiswahili words fine. They say, what did you do next? That is a question asked in Kiswahili because they are communicating in Kiswahili. Then the witness says, I threw a yell. I'm translating literally what they said in Kiswahili. Yet, you cannot throw a yell. So the judges start wondering, how do you start again? So the judge thinks that now you had another weapon called nduru, because nduru is the word used for throwing that yell. And so it creates a misinformation to the bench. And then they start now discussing what might this translator or what might this witness be saying. Because they wanted to save time, now the time that they wanted to save gets lost in the process of discussing what they are talking about. And then, so they have converted this person who is a witness to an interpreter. So you are an interpreter of your own testimony, and at the same time, you are a witness. So you are thrown between witness and interpreting, and then so the cognitive load comes up to be a bit high on this one. Then three things come up, because in a court process, there is what you call the examination. And there is the examination in chief, and then there is the cross-examination. But now in this context, my study realized that there are three examiners. The first examiner is the examiner in chief, who is the prosecutor. The second examiner is the defense counsel. And then the third examiner is the language, because this particular witness is not prepared to speak in Kiswahili, was prepared to speak in Ekebusi, but now he has ended up using a different language. So the language is examining this person, and then the examination in chief is examining this person, and then the cross-exam. So these three, they make now that person to lose the focus which he had prepared in the first instance, and therefore the court becomes testifying becomes very difficult for this person for those three reasons. And so is torn between the three languages to use. As I had said, you can see I'm in the language A, so I go to the scene of crime, get this language, transfer it from point A, bring it back to myself in my brain, process it very fast, then present it before court in the language B, which is Kiswahili. For instance, there was a case of a murder case. In this murder case, the spouse is said to have killed the wife. And then the persons who are brought before court to witness, one was the sister, who happens now to be the sister-in-law to the accused. Then the prosecutor asks the person in Kiswahili, the following day, what did you do? I'm skipping several things because of time. Kesho yake kumpigia simu hakuna. Literally translated, calling her the following day, no. Then now the court tries to think, what is this person saying? She didn't call the following day. So then there must be some collusion. However, in the original meaning of this one, because she's translating, because she had indicated earlier on she wanted to use Kiswahili, but was to use Ekegusi, but was requested to use Kiswahili. What did she do? She said she did it, but now when you say kesho kumpigia simu hakuna, and that means calling her the following day, no. Yet she meant calling her the following day. I was not very successful. I didn't find her. She was not on call. And then now the message gets convoluted and disappears. Had the lady insisted I want to use my vernacular, the message would have come out very clearly. Later on, in the same event, she was again asked, how long did you continue calling for this lady who must have been murdered? Then what she said in Kiswahili is, baadaye nilijua tu kumpigia simu hakuna. That is, when you translate what she said, later I realized that calling her no. So she was really stuck with her original presentation, which she had come to use Ekegusi in presentation. However, she was saying, later I realized that it is futile to continually call her because it's not getting through. So it becomes a challenge that this witness who has been requested to use a different language just at the dock, which she was not prepared to use. So she immediately has to convert herself to become an interpreter of an event that she had witnessed back then, because we believe that the language she must have used during the witnessing, when she was experiencing the action taking place, was her local language and not Kiswahili. That's why it becomes a bit cumbersome for her to say. So the assumption that I'm a bilingual, I can try, does not really come out. So the witness with her self-interpretation becomes a really excruciating experience for the person, because she ends up now having not one testimony but two testimonies. There is the unwritten or the unspoken testimony, which I may call the covert testimony, which has not come out, which we might call the source testimony, and then the one which she has brought out, which we could call now the target testimony, which has come out, which has been filtered and with a lot of shifts and deviations which may be lacking. And therefore, she cannot benefit from the experience that she wanted to express herself in. Now, when they are requested to move language A to language B, in fact, they are a witness just to give us a rough idea of what happened at the scene. Then we could try to reconstruct what must have happened. Just leave us, we can go around it, and then we get that we are at bar. What they forget is that now this witness is going to translate to translate the testimony that she had and bring it to the rest. And in this, what she does finally ends up now injuring the case, or the testimony becomes a problem to prosecute in itself. Why? In the same case, the murder case, the witness, in another murder case, not the same one, in another murder case where a police officer was said to have shot dead a victim and was brought before court. Then a witness was asked by the prosecution, do you know the person, the victim? Said no. Although it was because the background of the case was that the witness was a city askari, the city askari was, the person who was killed was in a market. And now, because there was a commotion in the market, the city askari took the victim and locked him in a cell within the market place. Later on, they met now the national askaris, and then they told them, come and assist us arrest an issue here. The officers came, the police officers came, and when they just entered to the cell, the police officer, it is said, just shot the man without any asking anything. So the prosecution now was asking this witness, who is a city askari, do you know, I use askari for the mean policeman. I'm sorry, I forgot that not all of us might know the meaning of askari. Do you know this person who was shot? He said no. Then later on, when the defense counsel took the stand to cross-examine, asked this person, do you say you know this person? He said no. But for how long have you been seeing this person? He said for about a year. So you see, the problem is that now you cannot be seeing somebody for a whole year, yet you don't know him. How do you know him? Yet in the local language, in the local culture, to know somebody goes beyond just seeing somebody for a year or even for 10 years. The same case that obtains in the earlier case I cited about the murder case, whereby the spouse who had killed the wife, allegedly, because it has not yet been completed and decided by the court, that now, how are these people, are these two couple, are the couple separated? She said yes, but now that's asked in Kiswahili. Yet, in effect, they are not separated because the two, one was staying in his place of work in town, then the wife was staying in their rural home. But in the local context, the two had separated because if one is in town and one is living here, then it means that the two are separated. And therefore, these minor differences that are being brought by just accepting to use language B against which the one that you had accepted come back to haunt the same people. We may say that these witnesses were of limited competence in using language B, which is Kiswahili. The most interesting case that I observed was of an expert witness, a medical doctor, was called upon to testify on a case of defilement. The medical doctor had prepared his report in English. However, the accused person does not understand English. Therefore, the medical doctor was requested, please, can you do it in Kiswahili? So the medical doctor, he has a degree, so it is obvious he must know Kiswahili and very well. Then was now to transfer, to change at the request of the court immediately or instantly to use that language, which is Kiswahili. So he has to read, to cite, translate the report from Kiswahili, from English into Kiswahili. However, he had all the difficulties to render some of the messages into Kiswahili, given that it was not prepared. So it could have been, we have to say that when somebody goes to court, he has already mapped the language you will use in court. And therefore, reaching at the door, and then you are told now move to language B, and yet you are not prepared, it becomes difficult in as much as several people who are conversant in both languages are told now shift to language B, then it becomes quite a challenge. Like what I shared with one of my my supervisors who was told during a seminar in a conference in Uganda where he had attended, and he said, now, Mwalimu, you are well versed in Kiswahili and you are the head of department at that university, and this is a Kiswahili conference. You cannot tell us that you will continue presenting this paper in English, yet some Ugandans here have presented their papers in Kiswahili. So he had to shift very fast. But later on, he confided me that he had all the challenges in changing that paper to present in a different language. So it is the same issue that obtains when a witness is requested to offer the testimony or that he has in another language. So the witness goes beyond being a witness, and now he becomes an interpreter for himself. And having done that, the cost now goes back to the case, because now some elements of the experience that the person had during the event that he has come to witness will get lost due to several cross-cultural differences that might obtain. So if that is what happens, what should be done? Number one, as a conclusion and maybe recommendations, is that there is need to have some civic education in schools and do the pre-trial conferences. Mostly, when you look at the curriculum and educational curriculum and syllabus in Kenya, nowhere are students told that when you go to court, you find yourself in court, just use this language, and you are not supposed to be coerced or over requested by anybody. But most of the witnesses whom I saw, 11 of them so far, who have shifted from language A to language B, they take it that now when you've been requested by a court that please do your presentation in Kiswahili, they think it is an order, yet it is a request, which they end up not understanding. Therefore, they should say, we are not able, but now due to lack of that knowledge, which they don't get, they think it is an order been given by the court to use the other language because you went to school and you understand this language better. Number two is probably we should have a call center, because some of the requisitions were coming that it is quite a challenge for us to go to trace an interpreter for yourself. So if we had a call center, witnesses come, wants to use a local language, and the call center, there are several and they are in one place, just getting them would be a bit easy for them to get it, and so that justice can be done, and then the true language or the original language comes out from the witnesses themselves. Up to that end, I want to thank you and thank the organizers of this conference. Welcome for questions, comments, and additions to this ongoing study. I thank you.
Thank you so much, dear colleague, for your presentation. I have some comments before I give the floor to the participants. Your presentation addresses a crucial issue, which is related to the effectiveness of interpretation for public services specifically. And your case study was carried out in Kenya, specifically the Supreme Court of Kenya. You started from a series of findings that have been drawn from interpreted courtroom proceedings from PC law courts.
Yes.
And what has been found was that most of, or even let's say, very important part of the interpretation made in those codes is not adequate because of what? Because of the fact that the interpreters are unable to integrate in their task the multimodal nature of the interpretation that should be carried out there, and the language used by the people in the code. So this problem is not specific, as I said earlier, it's not specific to Kenya. We conducted a study, a comparative study in Burkina Faso and Dakar courtrooms, and we found the same problems. That usually when the language used by the justice is different from the language used by the citizens, always there are problems of communication between the judges and even the interpreters and the defendant. I can share with you that study. Your suggestion, the conclusion you reach to propose some solution is to make the training of the interpreters, maybe to train them, to make that training abide by the specificities of court interpretation, so that the task carried by the interpreter could be more effective and render all the non-translatables items in the expressions, the communication of both the defendants and the judges. That globally what I have drawn from your presentation, which, as I said earlier, is interesting and comes within the framework of the efficiency, the effectiveness of court interpretation in our African context, where the language of the judges is usually different from the language spoken by most of the defendants, and the presence of an interpreter is not always the solution to fluent and clear communication between all the parties, because as Klimskiewicz, which is another study on the same topic, pointed out, there is an asymmetrical relationship between the interpreter, the judge, and the defender. And because of that asymmetrical relationship, there is a kind of power gains in the court. Because of that, the effectiveness of interpretation is at risk and could not be reached in many cases. So thank you for your presentation. It was the small summary synthesis I have to do. So I give you the floor to be in the time. We can just take 10 minutes to ask questions and make comments on that presentation by our colleague from Nigeria. Thank you. The first is Enoch Sewuyongo.
Thank you very much, Professor Sambu, for chairing this session. And I would like to also thank my colleague, Mr. Onyangeri, for this very stimulating presentation. I do have 3 quick questions and 1 comment. My first question is related to a statement in one of the slides, and I quote, "The court failed to read the cultural transpositions that clash." And you gave the example of a witness who was speaking in his local language and then switched to switch to Kiswahili, and then had to switch from Kiswahili to English, and there was some kind of mistranslation. So my question is that I would imagine that in the court, the judicial officers, the judges or the magistrates, I believe they also, at least some of them, had understanding of Kiswahili or the local language. And if there was a mistranslation by the witness, what was the reaction of the bench? How do they navigate meaning when they realize a witness has made a mistake? You also gave the example of a medical doctor who was asked to interpret his medical report from English to Kiswahili and was not accurate in transferring meaning. Again, I would imagine that in the courtroom, the judges had understanding of both languages and would be able to detect whether there was a mistake and be able then to rectify it and not have any problem understanding the report. Now that leads me to my last question. In the examples that you have cited, where is the court interpreter? You suggest that the court interpreter is either overshadowed or is ignored or is neglected in the Kenya court system. I would like you to throw more light and let us know whether there are court interpreters in Kenya, qualified court interpreters, so that witnesses do not have to translate for themselves. Is there a professional association of court interpreters that establishes and maintains high standards of performance in interpreting and protect the profession? Sorry for many questions, but that's what I would like to submit. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Enoch. Is there any other question, comments? Okay, you can answer.
Can I go?
Go on.
Okay, I see a question from Fred, but let me weigh in on the three questions. The first question was on the reaction of the bench when there was a mistranslation or misinterpretation. I said this is a self-interpreted testimony. Self-interpretation means that the witness himself herself translates what she or he observed to the case that is under discussion. And therefore, that one answers the last question, where's the interpreter? There is no interpreter in that context because the person himself is the one interpreting. Where in Kenya, there are interpreters, not that there is none. However, in court, when a witness has come, and then is asked which language, they can choose whichever language. And then you will realize maybe this is a magistrate's court. And the interpreters in Kenya who are being used are the court clerks. They are the ones who are doubling as the interpreters. And probably these days, the other courtrooms are not on. So if in your courtroom, the court clerk does not speak that language, and any other person around there who has no, so there is that tendency of the courts trying to request that please, because we are aware you are a bilingual, could you offer yourself to use Kiswahili instead of using Kisi, which is a local language, and then the witness agrees, let's use that one so that we can prosecute this matter and leave. So it is not very easy for them to realize this is a mistranslation because they don't read that this witness is translating. What they see is that this witness is giving us the original testimony from himself or herself. Comes the question of the medic. who was translating the report. When there is a mistranslation, because that one now was from English to Kiswahili, there was not, it was not seriously a big problem, because now the magistrate or the judge could interrogate further what was being presented to the court as the report from the medical report. And therefore, on that one, it's not really something that is a very big issue. However, the example is just to highlight that when you have your testimony, in as much as you might be conversant in both languages, there is that aspect of preparedness that you may lack when you are told now switch from language A to language B. The final one, or the last one, about Court Translators Association. We don't have an association for court translators per se, who are trained on the court translation as at now. However, there is an association which is about 5 years old, East African Interpreters and Translators Association, which is a cover association for all the translators, and is upcoming and trying to get modalities of how to streamline the translation and interpretation processes. I hope I've I covered your question. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that somebody else raised their hand. I don't remember who it was. I showed a hand a while ago. Was it Frederick Shiwanda?
Yes, it was me.
Yeah.
Perhaps partly the question might have been answered by our comrade. It was just to know the court system in Kenya, the language which is used during the hearing, and which language is used in the ruling or judgment. Because in Tanzania, we normally use Kiswahili throughout. So people could debate, could have the hearing in Kiswahili, and then at the end, all is passed in English, except one judgment which was passed recently before the demise of our face-to-face government president, the late Dr. John Pombe Magufuli. So that was my question. Which language is actually the language of the court? Thank you very much.
So that must be the last question, because we have just 6 minutes left.
Thank you, comrade. The language of the court in Kenya. I did mention at the very beginning that the language of the court in Kenya, there are two languages. There's Kiswahili, which is used for the lower court. The lower courts means the magistrate courts and the high courts. Then they can use either Kiswahili or English, and whichever language that they is used in conversation. And then they are allowed by the Constitution to write the judgments in both languages. About 2 months ago is when the first judgment was written in Kiswahili in Kenya. Then the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court, the language of communication is English, purely English. And so in the event a person comes who does not understand English, interpretation has to come in. Thank you.
Okay. So with regard to that, then there should be court interpreters. That was my target.
I did say there are court interpreters, but you see, what is obtaining in Kenya, you know, litigants also will want to buy time that they don't understand the language. So the courts have realized that they try to persuade these people, because at times a person comes who understands the language but will say, no, I want to speak this other language. So they will also want to cater for that mischief by requesting them to use that diplomas and dialogue so that they can accept themselves to use that language. That's the basic reason why they have to request them to use it, and they end up self-interpreting.
Thank you very much.
Colleagues, Dr. Sasu, I give you back the floor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sambu. We really appreciate you taking the time to chair for us. And I think once again, we've had very interesting presentations today. There's been a lot of exchange. I've seen people exchanging emails and books and articles and links, which is really great. That's one of the aims of such conferences. For those of you who were here during the opening ceremony on Monday, you remember that we were privileged to have the Provost of the College of Humanities chair the opening ceremony and officially welcome us on behalf of the university. For those who don't know, the Department of French, which is hosting this conference, it's under the School of Languages, which is also under the College of Humanities, because the University of Ghana runs the collegiate system. And so our provost is our overall boss as far as the College of Humanities is concerned. We are privileged to have him here to give us some closing remarks as we bring this conference to a close. So Professor Ofori, we are really happy to have you here once more. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chachu. And unfortunately, I haven't been able to sit in all of your presentations, but I have received some very good reports on it. Let me see if I can start the video. Okay. I think it doesn't seem to want to stay, but let me say that, I'm sorry. Let me start by saying a very good afternoon to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, at least those on the same GMT with us, and for those on different timelines, let me wish you good morning and also good evening. We just finished the last presentation, so I can rightly say that finally we have arrived at the end of the second biennial conference. I've received a good report of the 5-day conference, which featured some rich and varied presentations on translation and interpreting, ranging from audio descriptions for the hearing impaired to translating cultural symbols. I am confident that there was also the opportunity for networking, i.e. virtually, and I do hope that research collaborations will come out of this conference. I know that there have been participants from all over the world, so let me say hello to those from Belgium, Benin, Canada, host country Ghana, Kenya, Uganda, Togo, Senegal, Nigeria, South Africa, and other parts of the globe. And to say that we are extremely glad for the opportunity to host you, even if it was done virtually. We hope that in subsequent years, the University of Ghana will have the opportunity to host the ATSA Conference again, and this time we shall do it in person. For graduate students, I understand there are some graduate students as well who joined for the learning experience. It is my firm belief that you have also been challenged intellectually and have acquired ideas to push, or at the very least, enhance your research. Let me also say a special kudos to the local organizing team who put this together, as well as the ASTA board for providing the necessary guidance and direction to make the conference a reality. We certainly look forward to seeing the fruits of this conference, more publications, certainly, more collaborations, and more projects in the field of translation studies, with an increased focus on Africa, because as they say, charity begins at home. So essentially, we look forward to realizing more groundbreaking outputs and outcomes being birthed from the exchanges at this second biennial ATSA Conference. We'd certainly like to see all of you at the third conference, wherever it may happen, and I wish to proffer my hearty congratulations to everybody who participated in whatever form to make this conference a resounding success. Thank you very much. So let me hand over to Dr. Chachu again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Daniel Ofori. And we appreciate you giving us the nod to also host the program here. And we hope to give you a good report of the outcomes after the program. Thank you so much. I'd like to hand over to Luke, who will give us instructions on what to do as far as the next step is concerned. Luke Liepsie, over to you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Chachu. So the next event is the presentation of certificates. Now we are going to do so electronically since we are meeting virtually. So Professor Kobis and Dr. Chachu will do the presentation. What is going to happen is if we mention a name and the bearer of the name is present, though you were present receiving your certificates. Professor Kobis.
Luke, thank you. I could not hear your instructions. I'm sorry. Could you either repeat them or Sewunam, Dr. Chachu, could you maybe just help? I couldn't hear anything on my side.
Yes, I think it was generally difficult to hear Luke, maybe because his bandwidth is low. What I understood was that we are supposed to mention the name of the participants. Luke, is there a particular order? Is there a list of something? And then you would, I'm assuming from your end, you are going to project the certificates. And if the person's name is mentioned and they are able to show their video, then they do that briefly. I hope that that's what I understood. But
Okay.
Luke, you could also probably give us a text, a chat box clarification.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Just to be sure, am I reading all the names or are we taking turns, Dr. Chachu?
Prof, if you would ask me, I would say that I would prefer. I mean, if you ask my opinion, I think that I would ask you to just go ahead and mention all the names.
Okay.
I think that it's for a smoother flow and everything. I'll give you moral support from my end here.
Thanks, because the names will be difficult.
Oh, don't worry, nobody will take offense. I've had my name massacred so many times, but it's fine.
Yes. Can I've arranged with Luke, just before we start this, I think it is important that from ATSA side, we also just say a few words. Prof. Bandia will also have a chance at the end. But I don't think one can ever thank people enough for the work that they put into conferences like these. This is really hard work for, well, you don't get paid extra for it, and you don't get days off for it. It is just hard work and selfless work. So I would like to thank the organizing committee. I'm not going to name names at this point, just the organizing committee, the technicians, the people who made designed the program, and who made all the online interactions possible. Thank you very much. You have done a great job. I think this has been a highly successful conference. Not one of the speakers were cut off totally, and we made it work. So I think if we were in a group now, we would have probably we would have break out in some kind of praise song, or at least the Hakuna Matata thing. We would have repeated that. So I think, thank you very much. You've done a great job. The University of Ghana at Legon, the leadership, you have a bit titles that are a bit different from ours, provost and so on. So I can't remember all the titles, but thank you, Professor Ofori, also for taking the time to be here. We really appreciate this, and I share your sentiments that I hope this will create links, will create networks, will create publications and projects. I want to thank all the participants who opened themselves up for 15 minutes of being grilled. It is sometimes a bit scary, but it went great. Thanks for all your presentations. But I also want to thank everybody who attended and people who asked questions and people who made comments in the chat box. I think all of this actually made for quite a rich conference. I want to thank Professor Peter Flynn, Dr. Peter Flynn, for his keynote address. I think I wrote to him on Monday night that he really set the tone for the conference. And colleagues, I think my biggest impression of this conference is that we are moving in the direction of dealing with our continent on its own terms, studying the everyday practices, moving away from just studying the formal economy or just studying literature, but moving into medicine and courts and all these kinds of, let's say, everyday fields where translation plays a massive role on our continent. So I'm really impressed with from the very beginning, from Prof. Flynn's talk to the very end today with the presentations and the direction in which we are moving. I would like to close by just reminding all the presenters that we agreed at the AGM on Tuesday that the Journal for Translation Studies in Africa will have a special edition next year coming from this from this conference. I will be through the guest editors will be in contact with you. But as I said at the beginning, please don't promise your papers elsewhere. We will be in contact with you within the next month or so that we can get a really nice selection from the conference. Thanks. That was what I just wanted to get off my chest. And then Lucas, I will just make it clear. Luke wrote to me in the chat. We will share the certificates on the screen. Participants present can turn on their videos or say something like "received, thank you," just for some interaction. So look, I think we are ready. We can go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. So in fact, there are three categories: certificates for those who served as chairs. We also have certificates for participants who presented papers, and we have certificates for participants who did not present papers. Just a second. Okay.
So, colleagues, the first certificate of participation goes to Professor Paul Bandia, who chaired the, one of the panels in our conference.
Many thanks. I need to say something.
No, I think if everybody needs to say something, we're going to have a very long weekend.
Well, it's only good morning for me here. That's why.
Yes,
I'm kidding.
Sorry to be a typical African dictator, but
yeah. I haven't forgotten about that. I'm not there, but I haven't forgotten about it. Just joking.
Okay. But
all
so,
right,
Prof. Bandia, thank you very much.
thank you.
Then I award one to myself, and I thank myself, and I will now make a speech of about 1 hour, which I just denied, Professor. No, thanks, Luke. The next certificate of participation to Professor Harold Lesch, who also chaired one of the sessions. I don't think Prof. Lesch is in the meeting. Then Dr. Ulrich Duo also participated as a chair. Congratulations. Thanks, Ulrich. Are you around?
He's not.
Okay.
Thank Prof.
Are you? Good.
Yeah.
Then another certificate of participation to Dr. Abdel Wahab Khalifa as the chair of the panel. Abdel, thank you very much and congratulations. Then Mr. Johnson Atenga Asunka, also as a chair of panel. Are you here, sir? Not. Okay, Luke, you can move on. Mr. Johnson Asunga seems not to be here. Then Dr. Marcel Kakpu, also as a chair of the panel, one of the earlier panels. Are you here, sir?
I think I'm here. Are you seeing me now? You can see me. Oh.
You can see the half of your head.
The half of my head.
Yes, the clever part of your head. Now we can see you.
Should I?
All right.
Can you see me now?
Yeah, we see you putting on a hat.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's been a very wonderful experience. Very exciting, stimulating.
Mr. Asunka, please, you are giving a speech. Oh,
okay.
You're not supposed to.
What am I supposed to? What am I
No
supposed to say?
Just thank you. Just say thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I like somebody who can take a chance when it's presented to him. Dr. Kaku, are you present? Okay, Luke, doesn't seem like it.
He seems not to be here.
Right. Then this afternoon, Dr. Ali Sambu chaired the last two speakers. Thank you very much. I assume you're still here.
Hello, Prof. Kobus.
Hello, Ali.
Yes, I'm here.
Right,
Thank
so
you so
just,
much. Excuse me, I missed part of what you said. I was away from my computer. I just joined. I don't get your microphone is off. Your micro is off.
okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I get you now.
So Dr. Sambu, now I just said thank you very much for chairing the panel.
Thank you. I'm glad to see you again. The last time we met, it was in Nairobi in 2018, I think.
That's right.
Sure. Within the prompts. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Right, and then I think probably the biggest certificate or the most valued one in a sense to Professor Peter Marion Flynn, Emeritus Professor, who presented the keynote address on Monday afternoon. What has ethnography to do with translation? Peter, are you still around?
Yes, I am, Cobus. Thank you very much for this. I'm quite impressed by this certificate. I'd like to thank the organizers once again for a wonderful week. Really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, then that's just for my paper. I thank myself and I say thank you for thanking myself. And we can then move on. Thanks, Luke. Then Prof. Yakinudie, who presented, I think it was on Wednesday. I think, colleagues, I spoke to them earlier in the afternoon. They have no electricity at home. A cable was stolen, an electric cable was stolen somewhere. So both him and Prof. Cynthia Malinudie, they don't have any electricity. So I will just let them know that we thank them. Same for Prof. Cynthia Malinudie. I will make sure that they get our thanks. Then Dr. Suwunam Chachu, Certificate of Participation for a lecture on medical interpreters. You must be here. Suwunam?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you to everyone.
You may not make a speech, but you may not keep quiet either. So thank you very much. Then Dr. Marley van Rooyen for participating with a paper on community radio translation.
Thank you. Hi.
Good, thanks. Dr. Damola Adeyefa on indirect translation, literary translation. Are you around?
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Dr. Joe Snyder participated as a presenter on audio description. Joel, are you here? I don't think I saw him. Okay, but we'll forward the certificate to him anyway. Then this afternoon, Dr. Yolanda Moreno-Bello took part as a presenter on cross-cultural interpretation in women's health. Yolanda, are you still here? Probably not. We can move on. Dr. Ulrich Duo participated as a presenter on literary translation. Ulrich, show yourself. Maybe he's ashamed. Okay, look, let's move on. Then Mr. Abdul Karim Shaban Mandeni spoke about the scientific and space-related terms in Kiswahili and participated on that. Abdul Karim, are you here? Okay, look, we can move on. Zaini Jansen van Vieren participated as a presenter on interpreting in animal welfare, non-professional interpreting in animal welfare. Zaini? Okay, yeah, she lives close to the Professor Nadea's, so they will probably not have power. Thanks, Marley. Then Miss Linda Dykey participated with a paper on translated training and market needs.
Thank you, Prof.
Let us see you.
Yes, Prof.
Okay, it doesn't show on my side, but I assume that everybody else has seen you. Thanks, Linda. Then Mr. Samuel Boabeng participated as presenter together with Linda Dykey on the translation training, translated training and market needs. Samuel, we see you.
Hello, Prof. Thank you.
Ms. Pamela Amwal also participated as a presenter on the topic of medical interpreters in healthcare. Pamela? She seems not to be here. I will probably write her an email at some point, but your colleagues on that side, please. One of the things that will stay with me for a long time is the cool and calm way in which she handled the opening session, and even when a few things didn't work very well. So great work there. We also have a certificate of participation for Mr. Luke Libzier on literary translation specifically in Africa. Luke, show yourself. Or can't.
Okay, I'm here. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
there
you.
Then Ms. Kanya van der Merwe participated by presenting a paper on prison interpreting, comparing South Africa and...
Hello, thank you very much. I actually came to a bar to have access to power and Wi-Fi, so cheers, it was worth it. Thank you very much.
I just wanted to say, living in Stellenbosch, you don't go to a bar to get internet. Don't tell me that. The internet is just an excuse. But a very good one, I have to say. Then Mr. Akunga Onyangeri, he participated this afternoon, also on legal interpreting and issues of self-translation in legal interpreting. You still here, sir?
Hello, thank you much.
It's a pleasure. Prof. Ilse Feinhauer participated as part of the organizing group. I haven't seen her yet today. Ilse, are you here? Doesn't seem like it. We can move on. Then Prof. Inge Landslots also for participating in the conference hosted by the University of Ghana. Prof. Landslots, are you present? No. Professor Elizabeth Bekers participated in the conference. Are you around? Dr. Abdul. Yes, sorry.
Please, may I suggest that, Luke, you just project those we know are here so that we save time, because if they are not here, it's just for, I'm not sure, because I see there are about 76 certificates, but we have 40 people. So, I mean, the others, it will be sent to them, but if they are not here, they will not be here to acknowledge it anyway. Then let's concentrate on those who are here. That's my suggestion, Prof, if it's okay with you.
It's fine.
Unless you don't mind us going through all the names.
No, it's fine with me if Luke can do it.
All right, thank you.
If I may suggest, Kopus, if you click on participants, it should show who is here. So
yes, that's true. Hey.
Since
Okay.
Luke is the one who is projecting, he should also do that to make it easier for Prof. Kobius.
Yes.
Yes, I am doing that. I think James Agbo is here.
I'm here. I'm here. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Prof.
Yes, so Dr. Enoch Sebuyungu, he asked a number of questions throughout the week. Thanks for your participation, sir. And I assume you're still around.
he isn't, Kopus.
Okay. Paula Baglioni, she's been a very active participant in many ways, sometimes behind the screens. Pamela.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much, and for everything. Sorry, I couldn't participate actively because I was working while listening to the conference. So, but I appreciate it a lot. It was really, really great. Thank you for everything.
Thanks. All right, Frederick Chiwanga participated. Frederick, quickly show us your face.
Yes, here I am.
Okay.
Thank you very much. It was wonderful.
Pleasure to have had you. Okay, Timothy Munufie, are you around? Sorry, I can't check the participants.
His name is in the participants. I'm searching his.
Very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Timothy. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure, sir. Jennifer Talua also participated in the conference.
Empty chair.
Thank you.
Okay. Nice to hear your voice. Nana Asante participated in the conference.
Hello, and thank you.
Hi, nice to hear you. Okay, Jocelyn Arma.
I can't see the name, Kopus.
Okay. Ali Abdul Wahid Adebisi participated. Somewhere from Nigeria, if I remember correctly.
Please, you have to unmute yourself, Mr. Ali. We can see you speaking, but your mic is muted.
Okay, look, maybe we just move on.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so grateful to be part of this program.
It's a pleasure. Was that Ali speaking?
Okay. Let me try my. Can you see me?
Yes, we can see you.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Thanks. Jean Chawu participated in the conference.
Yes, thank you very much, Prof.
Sesheme Mokare participated in the conference.
Very much. Thank you very much for the insightful information. I'm very grateful.
It was great having you.
You didn't hear me?
No, I
Hello?
say we can hear you.
Okay.
It was great having you with us.
No, thank you very much, Prof.
Right. This is one of those that I will probably get really messed up. Ndanake Nasingbe.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor. Hello?
How do you pronounce that? Help me.
That is Ndanache Nyasingbe.
Nyasingbe. Okay, I wasn't that far wrong. Thanks for
Thank
being.
you. Thank you, Professor. Thank you, everyone, and goodbye.
Hi.
Then Samiat Abubakar. It's a pleasure. Thanks for showing your face.
Yes, hello everybody.
Hi.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for joining.
Yes. Yeah, goodbye.
Bye.
Please, those saying goodbye should wait. We'll take a group picture. So please don't say goodbye just yet.
Okay. Miriam Sawadogo.
Okay.
Thanks, Miriam. Can you show yourself?
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Gemanen Yuse.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm here.
Pleasure. Thanks for showing.
Thank you.
Yolande Ilbudo.
Thank you, everyone.
Nice to see
Au
you.
revoir et à la prochaine.
Thanks.
À la prochaine, Yolande.
Amos.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. Hi.
Hi, nice to see you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, thank you very much. It's a wonderful moment for me.
A pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks. Linnell Foster participated.
Not here, Corpus.
Okay, you can move on, Luke. So are we done?
So we are done.
Thanks. I assume you know how to take us further.
Yes, I wish we had more participants.
Okay, Luke, so what's next on the agenda? That's information on next conference. Thank you very much, Prof. Kobis, for doing this for us.
It was a pleasure, thanks. I think
so. Prof. Bandia will give us. I think next we have information on the next conference announcements from ATSA, etc. Right?
Exactly. That is what we have.
Okay.
Okay. Can I then go on then? Can I go on?
Sure, Prof. Please go ahead.
Okay. All right. I just want to add my voice quickly to my colleague, Professor Maré's, comments earlier about thanking the University of Ghana and the organizing committee for this wonderful, wonderful experience. I am particularly happy about the collaboration between the organizers and the ATSA team. Your collaboration has been exemplary in that sense, and I really look forward to getting this kind of collaboration with other institutions as we move forward. The discussions were very enlightening. They are just so varied and interesting, and I'm hoping that we should maintain and continue these discussions in many other forms, probably by internet or by email or in person, as the occasion may prove. I also would like to remind you, since it's part of my mandate, that you should all continue to endeavor to become active participants or members, I would say, members of ATSA, paid up members of ATSA, and remain active, and so that we can continue to support this young organization, this young association, which hopefully will become a force to reckon with within the translation studies community globally. So I'm really counting on you. We are counting on you, and hope that we should be able to make ATSA one of the most relevant associations for translation studies globally, as we have the potential and the opportunities are there. With respect to the upcoming conference, I'm glad to announce that ATSA has received a tentative offer from Cameroon to host the next conference. And the board will confirm in due course. So it is a tentative offer, and we're going to be meeting to discuss this, and we'll keep you posted, we'll keep you informed about this decision as time goes on. In the meantime, as you know, ATSA is continuing with the webinar series, which in some ways have become very important in this moment where we're dealing with virtual realities. So those are the two main aspects I can mention for now in relation to the upcoming activities. I'm not sure if Dr. or Professor Maré has anything to add to this, but basically that's it. So we're really hopeful that the offer from Cameroon will materialize. But again, like I said, we will get together. The board will be confirming this in due course. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Paul Bandia. Let me apologize to Jackie. Jackie, I should say that your certificate is here, except that I missed your name. So I'll plead with everyone. Let me just project Jackie's certificate now to be very fair. Jackie, Anastasia.
Look, so yes, I will announce her name, which I cannot pronounce. Jackie Bahia.
Thank you, Luke. And thank you, Prof. Thank you, Dr. Chechu as well. Thanks very much for the opportunity. Thanks. Bye.
You're
Have you
welcome.
shown your face, because on my screen I can't see it.
Hi.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
thanks.
Thank you very much for participating.
Thanks, Prof. Thanks. Bye.
All right. So thank you so much, Prof. Bandia, for those announcements. Really, I think that such conferences are a good opportunity to also get people interested in ATSA and to sign up. And I can report that from University of Ghana, we already have 10 people who have made payments to me for ATSA. The challenge now is how to get the money to South Africa, but we hope that we'll get that sorted out. Some of our graduate students are also getting themselves organized. So I think to add to what Prof. Bandia has said, let's try and pool resources, pool teams and groups together for the group registration. There's a question about whether I'm going to receive the certificate through mail. What we are going to do is that we'll send soft copies to everyone. So you could choose to print it on hard paper or keep it in your archives, do a color printing and laminate when you need it. So I think the link for becoming a member has been shared in the chat, I think. So I think Mari sent it at 3:30. So if you go through the chat, you will see the link on joining ATSA. And when you go, there's a form that says to join ATSA, click here. Just click there and it'll take you to the form. It's a very simple Google form. And then later you can make arrangements for the payments. I think the payments is that's the main challenge, but we're trying to see how from our end, for example, we can do group payments to make it easier. So thank you. I think that a lot of vote of thanks has been said. So though we do have a proverb that says that too much meat or fish doesn't spoil the soup. So I would also say thank you one more time to the organizers, to the chair, to the provost of the University of Ghana College of Humanities, and then the dean of the School of Languages. Thank you to all those who willingly accepted to chair, all those who presented. We know that we miss out a lot when we have these online conferences, because for me, the favorite part about conferences is the coffee break, where you have to meet in person and share and talk. But I think we managed to pull off quite an interactive online. And thank you all for helping to make it a success. There'll be a link to a poll. We just want to have feedback from you on how the conference went. And so Luke is going to send the link to I think the link is just up. So please take a moment, just click on it and share, and fill it in quickly for us. It will guide us to know how to improve and what went well, what didn't go so well, what we can do going forward, not just for the local organizers, but for ATSA. So please take a moment and fill it in. And then I'm sure Luke will give us instructions on the group picture. Those of us who want to powder our noses just before the picture, just whilst we are taking the poll, you can do that in a minute or two, and then Luke will give us instructions on the group picture. So thank you all, and over to you, Luke.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chachu. Thank you so much. So for the group picture, we are going to turn on our videos. Just ensure that you've powdered your nose, as Dr. Chachu has said. Turn on your video, smile, and make this nice. But I also encourage you to fill the form so that we'd have good feedback. Okay. Nyasingbe, Nanama, Santi, Paula, Shesheme, Timothy, Dr. Marcel, Kako.
Yes. We can't turn on the video because the host has stopped it.
Sorry.
Luke, your own video is off, please.
Yes, you see, I am taking the picture. I will turn it on very soon.
Okay.
Jennifer Talua, Linda Dake, Mami Ajua. In fact, I missed Mami Ajua's certificate. I think when I typed, I did not see her name. Okay. Dr. Nkonu, I also missed your, I could not share your certificate. Okay.
Okay, all right, no problem. If it can be shared later, I'll be fine.
Definitely, we will send it to you.
Thank you very much.
Please, I'm smiling, but the picture is not being taken, and my smile will finish.
I think I have already done that for your page. I've done that, Dr. Chachu, but you can continue smiling.
You should have said, made us say cheese, so we give you our best smile.
Now let's say cheese.
Cheese.
Great. And probably we should say ATSA.
ATSA.
Let's say ATSA 2021.
Oh, that's too much.
2021.
ATSA 2021.
I hope
ATSA
2021. I hope you capture me.
Yes, we will. We will.
Yes, and maybe we should say actually not good. Akuna Matata.
Mr. Luke. Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata.
Great.
Hakuna Matata.
Great. More Hakuna Matatas. Great. Thank you very much. I think I've taken enough pictures.
Hey, Dr. Do.
Mr. Luke, are you sure that you have taken me?
Oh, yes, I have taken everyone.
Including me.
Am I taken too?
Everyone is captured.
Well captured.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good.
That was wow.
So nice to see all the faces.
I
hope you don't forget me.
Bye.
Oh no, you are in your purple top. You are in.
So, Dr. Chachu, Professor
Yes.
Professor Paul Bandia, over to you.
Mr. Luke, I've not got my picture. I don't know. I don't see anything. Or is it related to my network here?
Me either.
So,
my network matter. No.
I think everything will be shared later. I think everything will be shared as soft copy. Everything will be shared later. So please not to worry. Everybody was captured.
That's good.
They're beautiful smiles.
Beautiful smiles, happy smile. That's the important thing. This is a beautiful conclusion and to a wonderful conference. And I just said in my chat that I'm sure I'm not alone in thinking that, or saying that, well, wish we had all had the opportunity to come to your beautiful country and visit your beautiful country, but I'm sure we will have the opportunity in the future to come and see your
We look forward to that very much.
You're beautiful people and very hardworking people, and that is so reassuring. And I hope this is experience that we'll be replicating across the continent. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you too. So please, everyone, enjoy your weekend. It's been 1 week of intellectual debate, but I think we also need to relax a bit and spend time with our families. But it would be awesome to eventually have publications coming out of these exchanges, to have projects being taken up. I see other people are also talking about call centers. I think it would be great for us to collaborate and see how our various research can merge together, because I think in Africa we are stronger together when we bring the various things that we are doing across our nation. So I'm really glad I have met wonderful people. I'm going to invite some of you to be guest lecturers for some of my lectures, for example, because I think that there's a lot we can learn from each other. And not just me, but I think the students and the various departments will also benefit. So please, let's keep the communication going. I'm sure after this, we'll share each other's, all participants' addresses, email addresses, so that those who enjoyed one particular talk or the other can take up and continue with the discussions. Professor Flynn, it was really great having you. Thank you for accepting to be the keynote speaker.
It was my pleasure.
We really enjoyed also the exchanges with you. So for everyone, thank you so much. Prof. Kopius, thank you for being a sort of liaison between University of Ghana and ATSA and guiding us through this process. So, c'était vraiment un plaisir de vous rencontrer. I'm not going to leave out the francophones. And then karibu sana, asante sana to all our Swahili speaking friends. And we hope to meet you at the next ATSA conference. I don't know if the venue and the dates have been decided yet, or it will be announced later, but we hope to meet you at the next conference, God willing. Thank you.
Thank you too.
À la prochaine.
À la prochaine. Au
À la
revoir.
prochaine. Merci. Merci.
Au revoir.
Une fois merci. Au revoir.
Grazie infinite.
Au revoir, la prochaine.
Muchas gracias. And then obrigada, muito obrigada.
Obrigada.